Hey there friends, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to create masks that you can use in your raw photo editing process using Affinity. So to get started, as you can see, I already have a photo loaded into Affinity, and I'm just going to go over a few of the adjustments that I would usually make when color correcting a raw photo. So I'm just going to be adjusting the exposure a little bit, tad bit more, upping the brightness, introducing a tone curve like so, 3 points. I like to work with 3 points, like so. Oh, there we go. Back, increase the clarity just a little bit. Looks good. Increase the saturation by a point and the vibrance by a little bit. White balance is all right. Maybe I can make it a bit cooler just to balance it out. There we go. Here's the shadows a little. Want to be useful for later. And nice reduction. Fix the luminance a bit. As well as the colors. Just a little bit. But not so much that I totally get rid of the texture. Go back. Maybe add some texture back in. That looks pretty good. Zoom out. And here is our photo after some initial uh, edits. So I'm going to be showing you how to use masks, and to use mask, go ahead and move over to the masks tab and click on add mask. So this will allow you to create sort of selections or areas of the images. And these are the areas where and these will be the areas where the changes will be applied. So anything outside of the mask won't be affected. And you can think of them as something like layers in other programs. So in this case, I'm going to be creating a gradient mask. And then I'm going to choose elliptical here at the top left. And this is because I want to create a mask for the face, just so I can isolate this and make it a bit brighter and make it stand out a bit more. So this is one way of color correcting your photos if you have sort of unideal environments, and it's just a way to work around it. So I'm increasing the exposure a bit, but not by much, maybe just half a stop. Ideally, I would up the shadows. And I'm just going to feather this a bit more by moving the slider so that it doesn't look very jarring. So shadows, gonna up the shadows a bit, just so that I recover some of the detail got lost. There we go. That looks pretty good. So if we compare the before and after again, the right is before and the left is after. So before and after, you can see I was able to recover some of the detail, especially around the eyes that was lost to the shadows. That did introduce a bit of noise though. So I'm going to go back to the details and, oh, you can't use that. Oh well. That did introduce a little bit of noise though. So just be sure that you don't overdo these types of adjustments very much, and just try to keep the changes as minimal as possible. So maybe I'll up the brightness ever so slightly once more, and that still looks pretty natural while recovering some of the detail. Another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to darken the background a little bit. And to do this, I'm going to create a pixel mask. Then I'm just going to select the object selection tool. Then I'm going to select the background. So I'm going to further refine this by taking out my brush tool or hitting B on my keyboard, and then just making sure that I've gotten most of the background. Don't worry if you paint over the edges a little bit, because we can always refine this mask even more later on. So that's pretty much fine. I don't particularly care about this bottom part because I'll be cutting that out anyway. Well, I can do that right now. going to select the eraser tool by hitting E on my keyboard. And as I've said before, any mistakes that you make can easily be corrected just by choosing the right tool, the brush tool or the eraser tool. I'm just erasing some of the parts that got selected that should not have, because remember, we want to have this mask focus on the background like so. And there we go. So here around the shoulder and the arm, actually, I'll fix that as well. If you make a mistake, you can also just press Ctrl Z on your keyboard real quick, and that quickly undoes the change. There we go. Around here as well. And that's why it's also pretty useful to have the original photo open here so you can quickly compare the selected areas. So that looks about right. And now that looks about right. Going to refine it just a little bit more by zooming in and making sure that we only have the just smoothing it out a bit. So we'll go back to the eraser tool. Just get rid of that to get it back. Okay. So I'm pretty satisfied with the way that looks. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the masks panel, and then we're going to click on create compound mask. Here, I'm going to choose gradient, and then you're going to want to click on this small icon, and this changes the blending mode. So right now it's add, but this time we're going to choose intersect. So once it's set to intersect, we can go ahead and create a linear gradient and just drag it from the top. As you can see, once it reaches our subjects, they aren't selected anymore. So this is one thing that I tend to do if I really want to add some emphasis to the subjects. And now that that's done, I'm just going to go ahead and lower the exposure a bit and reduce the contrast. Or sorry, increase the contrast. Maybe I'll even up the black point, lower the brightness a little bit. Then maybe we can change the direction a little bit. Have it set this way. That just creates a nice effect. There we go. Pretty good, pretty good. And I feel like those are pretty much all the changes that we really want to make. Maybe I could reduce the shadows and the highlights just a bit more to make the lighting pop even more so. There we go. So if we compare our side by sides, our two photos. So this is before, this is after. So as you can see, the subjects are a lot more in focus and stand out a lot more as well. So I'm pretty satisfied with that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on develop. And now that that's done, I can now export the photo and use it for whatever I might need it for. So that was how to use, or that was how to create and use masks when editing your raw photos in Affinity. I hope I was able to teach you something new and something useful. And as always, thank you for watching.